Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Racing Gambit presented by the USA Wager on the Sporting 2.0 network for your look at this weekend's horse racing action. I'm not doing it alone, I'm joined by Ace. Ace, how you doing?
I'm great, but at the same time, I'm very sad that the Kentucky Downs meet is now officially over.
Yeah, well, that's where we'll start. We start looking back at the races from last weekend. We obviously had the Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint. Gear Jockey won that. Was it an impressive winner for you?
Not super impressive. That field was very deep. It was a convincing win, but Kentucky Downs is such a unique racetrack where I don't think the form takes on at the next racetrack. You got to run downhill and then to the right and then uphill and to the left. Some horses just don't take to it.
Yeah, and then we also had Impador, who won the Calumet Turf Cup from, your mate Arklow finished second by a neck. And then my pick was third with Glyn County.
Arklow cost me so much money that day by not winning. He was stuck. He was stuck on the inside. Couldn't figure out which way to go. Am I going in? Am I going out? Took second to a long shot and just ruined that day of betting for me.
And I'm going to get a bit carried away now because we had some pretty fantastic action over here. Obviously, we had the St. Ledger, which was won by Hurricane Lane, which was my. I got the two winners in both the big races actually. So Hurricane Lane won that. Mojo Star was second. And then the best race of the whole weekend was the Irish Champion Stakes, which St Mark's Basilica won, with Ternaba second and Poetic Flair third. The best thing about this was it was all three of them at their very, very
Mm-hmm.
best, coming like towards the line. It was a bit controversial in the end because it went to a steward's inquiry because St Mark's Basilica was slightly coming over a little bit, but I can't think how you could even take that a win away from him in the end.
I agree. Not the biggest field, not the deepest field, not the most impressive field, but he just keeps winning, and you can't hate on a horse who just keeps winning.
No, the most interesting thing about that though, thought was I was looking at both the Arc, which is in around 2 weeks' time, the 2nd of October, and obviously the Breeders' Cup Turf, which that was the an entry race for. It's quite weird. The horse that finished second, Tanawa, is the favourite in both markets for both races.
No, thank you.
No,
Punt. Punt, 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 punt. No, thank you. There's no way in the world.
no, not a chance. But you got St Mark's Basilica, which I think he will go Breeders' Cup next, and he is available at some places around 4-1, 5-1, which I think is a really good bet. He's a really, really good horse. But he's around 10-1 for the Arc because I don't think he's going to go there.
Yeah, I don't think he'd go there either. I think the smart thing is to rest up until the Breeders' Cup. Get him over here, get one work over the turf course over at Del Mar, and then have him ready to run. It's still too short of a price for me in the futures market, just because you don't know. There with travel and so many months to go, I wouldn't be taking the flyer. But if you got 4-1 day of, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, the weird one is because I was just going through the markets the other day, and obviously the Breeders' Cup Turf, you've got in there Mishrif, who's had a pretty ridiculous season again, around
Hmm
4-1. But if you look in the classic markets for the futures, Mishrif is at 8-1 for that as well. So like they're not really sure where he's going to go.
I wouldn't be going up against Nick's Go and Essential Quality. No, thank
No,
you. No,
especially not
thank
for
you whatsoever.
especially not for a horse that kind of specialises like on the turf anyway. So you're not going to
Yeah,
kind of risk it.
yeah. Unless you have early speed, I wouldn't be sticking around on the dirt. I'd stay on the turf and just get ready for your one big run to close.
Yeah, it would be quite interesting to see him in the classic though, just to see how he fares.
I don't think horses have good results when they do that, unfortunately, though, right? Like you have your turf specialist that's going to try dirt because, it's a bigger prize pool, but rarely does that ever work out.
Yeah, yeah. So, without any further ado, we're getting stuck into the race action for Saturday. We're going to start with the Jockey Club Derby at Belmont Park. It's a challenge race for the Breeders' Cup Turf with a $1 million purse, over 1.5 miles. This is the last leg of the Turf Trinity Series, or is that what it's called? Because different things
Yeah,
can tell me different things.
yeah, they're trying to make it a thing. It's not really a thing over
No. So We had the Belmont Derby, which was won by Amate Bolshoi Ballet. Saratoga Derby won by State of the Rest. Are you going to be taking on Bolshoi Ballet here? I'm guessing you probably are.
Well, as you know me, I do not trust Bolshoi Ballet. I think they're frauds. I'll say it. They're not consistent enough for me. Um, I don't. I didn't see the excuse last race. I really didn't. Like it was theirs to take, and they didn't take it. 5-2 morning line on, and they're just going to be even shorter come post time. And in all honesty, like, big surprise here. There's another horse shipping in that Charlie Appleby trains. Yibber. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I don't know how else you would say it. Yibber, coming over from Great Britain, who had a nice win last out in a Grade 2 stake. And then I'm also going to take, I think, a shot at a long shot, 15-1 morning line. The name is Experienced, which is exactly the opposite of what this horse is. Only 3 races. But one is maiden, and then basically has not shown up entirely poorly in stakes races, but just hasn't won it. What I really like is Jose Ortiz is getting aboard. And Jose Ortiz is an actual jockey, unlike Daniel Centeno and Manny Franco. No offense. But Jose Ortiz is an excellent jockey going 1.5 miles on turf. I think this horse has a shot, as it's taken a second already at the 1.5 mile distance.
Yeah, back to Bolshoi Ballet. Like, I find it so hard to like him. Like, you had him in the Epsom Derby, just complete. It was awful. Finished 7th. Obviously, was very, very good winning at Belmont, winning the Belmont Derby, and then the Saratoga Derby was just a mess. Like he's obviously talented, but he's so inconsistent, and it's so hard to even support him. And he's always going to be short, so you just cannot support him. But you did actually mention the horse that I do like in here, Yibia. I do like Yibia for Charlie Appleby, who is smashing out winners all over the place. For Godolphin, who are also having a pretty ridiculous year this year. I think if it's anywhere near the Voltigor form, he's going to absolutely smash up here. I think he's very, very good. And obviously, if there's no complications with going over to the States, obviously you have to bear that in mind as well. But I think if he's anywhere near his form from the last, he's going to win this.
There really has to be something said for horses that do well and have done well at 1.5 miles. It's not a natural distance. And for this one to have won graded stakes at the 1.5 mile level, I hope Bolshoi Ballet continues to take money, because I'm going to fade that one to death. So I'm hoping Yibber is actually not the favorite come post time, but we'll see how that happens.
Yeah, the other one I quite like in here is Tokyo Gold. I think outside of kind of the shorter price ones, I feel like he's a pretty decent shout. He's about 8-1, is he? So
8-1.
He was second in the Belmont Derby, wasn't he? And that got a 105 speed figure off the back of that. And he won over 11 furlongs in the Italian Derby. I know this is completely different, but I feel like he's got at least a chance here.
I'm with you. What I really like is they've actually been patient with this horse. They didn't run him in the Saratoga. And so I'd be there as well. As an underneath play, that one makes a lot of sense to me. And then you also have, Soldier Rising, another Irad Ortiz, Christophe Clement, the 4 at 5-2. I mean, this horse just doesn't like to win a lot. They take second a lot, but at the same time, they're always there. So an underneath play for Yibber, I think, is, go with a 2, with a 2, 3, 4, 6 trifecta, something like that. I think might pay a little bit.
Yeah. So what would be your pick for that one then?
I'm going to go Yibber over, I'm with you, the 3 Tokyo Gold, 4 Soldier Rising, and 6 Experienced. Bolshoi, not even in the money. Toss him.
Yeah, I'll be going 2 Yibir to win, and then Tokyo Gold, I think, is going to snatch second. But I feel like that's going to be quite a close race for second. As for the win, I don't think it's going to be very close at all. So next, we'll get over to the Pocahontas, and this is our one of two races we're going to be looking at the 2-year-olds, which I think is a bit of a minefield. It's a Breeders' Cup Challenge race for the juvenile fillies, 1 mile on the dirt. It's a grade 3 for the 2-year-old fillies. So Girl Daddy won this last year before coming third at the Breeders' Cup. Do you think there's anyone in here which could potentially get within shooting range at Del Mar later in the year?
This is an impossible race. It's an absolutely impossible race. You have horses in here who, just breaking their maiden, and they're just stepping up in class, and you got a lot of turf to dirt competitions here. For those who don't know, Churchill Downs, for this meet, there's no races on the turf whatsoever. I was there 2 weeks ago. They literally don't have turf right now. They're redoing the whole irrigation system. 2-year-olds are so hard to handicap. I'm realistically, and I know I literally just talked about, horses going from turf to dirt, but half this field is doing it. And I'm just going to go with the connections that I trust the most. And that's Florent Giroux and Brad Cox. Maxine Machine ran a mile on turf at Ellis Park, is a local horse, Kentucky, and they have the running style that makes me intrigued when going from turf to dirt. They weren't 10 lengths back at any point in time, which is very hard to close in on dirt tracks. They were hanging around 5th, about 3 off of it, 4 off of it, and then they closed into, in all honesty, not a fast pace. So my thought process is, if there's going to be horses that are going to go straight to the lead here, there's a lot of speed. If there's someone who can sit right off the speed and then just pounce at the top of the lane, I think it's Florent Giroux. I think it's Maxine Machine coming down the stretch to win.
Yeah, I think this is virtually impossible. You're going to need a lot of luck to find the winner in this. I quite like the number 10, if I'm having to pick one. I'm going to botch the name. Lemieux?
Lemieux, yeah.
Close. Yeah. So it's one from 2. One from 3, isn't he? Second on the first 2 starts, and then won his maiden at Saratoga last time out. I feel like his form does come at Saratoga, but I think there's definitely improvement, and he's progressing quite well. She's progressing quite well, I should say, sorry. I just think that out of this bunch, she's the one that I'm kind of like most feeling. I mean, like I haven't got a very logical point to thinking that she's got a very good chance, because I've got like about 7 written down here, which I'd also have chances. But she's ranked as the 64th best 2-year-old. So she's obviously highly regarded as well. And I just think at 10-1, I think it's a decent price.
So I'm not going to lie to you. I have Lemieux as the 3rd best horse in this race. So I am with you there. Like, I very much like, well, first and foremost, Tyler Gaffalione has won the Churchill Downs Jockey Club meets before. He knows how to ride at Churchill. Is he going to be the speed of the speed? Maybe not, right? But at the same time, like, he won at 7 furlongs. I know this is a little longer, but there's horses in here who haven't run more than 5.5 furlongs. So at least you know that, like, hey, they won by 4 lengths going that distance. Like, this horse looks like he wants more distance, and realistically, the only question is going to be, does Tyler take him to the lead, or does he take him from a nice stocking position on the outside? I very much like that he's on the outside here. So I'm with you there. The only other horse I saw that it's going to take a lot of money, I think, is Goddess of Fire, the 2. Javier Castellano is an okay jockey, but it's Todd Pletcher trained, 1 first out at Saratoga in a maiden special weight, 1 coming from a stocking position. If they get the same trip as they did before, watch out. But in all honesty, like, I look at the 4 on the 1s and 2s, which is like the 5-2 morning line favorite. Just because they've competed at the stakes level before is the only reason that this horse is getting this much play. I'm sorry, I don't see it. This horse seems like it is regressing, and this horse seems to just not have what it takes, especially stretching out. It seems like speed won the day the first time they were out, so it'll be interesting to see who and what takes money in this race.
Do you think on the 1s and 2s, it's probably favourite as well because it's ran at Churchill Downs a few times, and that probably got a bit of a bearing on it as well.
I would say so. I think, the second in the debutante was a very good second, by one length, going 6 furlongs. They went really fast. And he closed and kind of stalked the pace. So I think the speed's there. I just, they need to get this horse to rate, which seems like what they tried to do in the last race at Saratoga. Like, they pulled them back and they sat back, and then the horse just didn't run. So it's really interesting what to expect from 2-year-olds, especially 2-year-old fillies. So can this horse win? Sure, but not at this short of a price.
No, and it's one of them because it's such an open race with 11 runners. You just wouldn't go for something that's 5-2 favourite when you could get you could get a better value elsewhere.
1,000,000%.
So, last word on the Pocahontas. Then, what are you going for?
I'm gonna go with connections. I'm gonna trust Florent Giroux and Brad Cox at 6-1 morning line. They're probably gonna go off at like 3-1 in all honesty.
Yeah, I'll be sticking with Lemieux, the number 10, at 10-1, all the 10s. And this is going to be another name I'm going to botch. The Iroquois Stakes, yeah? Is that right?
Iroquois
Stakes.
Yeah. Yep.
A grade 3 for the Breeders' Cup juvenile race. Over 1 mile. Again, the 3-year-olds, but this time the boys. 2-year-olds, sorry, but to the boys. I think Dale Romans has a pretty decent record in this. He's won 2 of the last 4 occasions, and back-to-back in 2019 and 2020. Do you think he has a good chance in this with the very well-named Red Knobs?
No, I do not, unfortunately. Impressive win coming, they ran it on turf, didn't like it. They tried to run it on turf again, and then that turf became a dirt race, so it was washed off in Ellis. James Graham, good rider, wins the fairgrounds meet, but I don't think this wasn't in a very expensive horse, and 20-1, little too high for me in the odds world. I just don't think this horse has enough early speed to compete, and so I don't think Dale Romans has a real shot. You can call me a chalk-eating weasel all you want, but
I think we've lost Ace for the second, so I will go through mine. I quite like Roger McQueen in this. It's 2 from 3. Won at Ellis Park Juvenile Studs from Lucky Boss, who is also in this race at around 10-1 as well. But I think Roger McQueen is a decent shout in here. Elsewhere, we've got Strike Hard as well, and I think Strike Hard's not too bad. He's a very impressive winner at Gulfstream in his maiden, getting a speed figure of 93. Ace, you're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry for the disconnection. The internet could not handle my excitement to bet this favorite because I am a chalk-eating weasel, and I love Stellar Tap in this race. I love this horse. Ricardo Santana Jr., Steve Asmussen. I'm not sure if you know this, but Stellar Tap was the horse that gave Steve Asmussen the most winning training wins in North America at the Saratoga meet. So this horse has a great storyline for Steve Asmussen. Santana Asmussen, deadly combination, out of Tapit, $185,000 for this horse, sold for $250,000 at the Keeneland Spring Meet. I think this horse could be special.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything you're saying at all. But I will be taking you on because we both can't go for the same horse. I quite like Roger McQueen. It's 2 from 3. Won the Ellis Park Juvenile Studs from Lucky Boss, who's also in here as well. And I just think that's a pretty good bearing. And I just think he's going to get better again on this, like on another run. And at 10-1, is he around 10-1?
10-1. And
yeah,
he's my second choice. He's my second choice, yeah. Larry Ravelli, who's going to win the Arlington meet, Rest in peace, Arlington. I'm going to go tomorrow, but it's going to be closing next Saturday or next Sunday. I'm going to cry my eyes out. Larry Ravelli knows how to train. Adam Beschizza, no stranger to the winner's circle, especially on the Kentucky circuit. Won some very nice races at the Kentucky Downs. I like Roger McQueen very much. I like the price. I like playing him under my winner, Stellar Tap. But and I also, I'm going to throw out there the other Asmussen, Guntown, with Tyler Gaffleone. Gaffman knows how to ride here. They've already won at a mile, which I think is super important. And could be the other Asmussen that upsets today.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So you're going with Stellar Tap?
Stellar Tap, and then I'm also going to go 369, Exacta, Trifecta, Wheel'em, all of it.
And I'll be going with Roger McQueen. I just think he's going to keep getting better. So to round off then, best bets for this weekend, Ace. What you got?
The best bet is to not bet on Bolshoi Ballet, in all honesty. However, I'm gonna put a substantial pen. If Stellar Tap is 9-5 or better, I think I'll be putting down a substantial wager there. Realistically, this horse I think has the goods, and they haven't asked him just yet. So when they do, I want to be interested to see how this horse performs.
Yeah, and I think I'll be sticking with the Jockey Club Derby and going Yubia 1, Tokyo Gold 2, I think. I just think Yubia's just got all the beating of that field. I think it's going to be pretty routine. And I think Tokyo Gold is going to be pretty well placed to build on that Belmont run and get another second again, which would be another good second.
Hey, seconds in stakes races pay just as much money as a first in an allowance race. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so that concludes then the Racing Gambit for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Ace, for your time. And we will be seeing you again next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Sports 2.0 network as well. Thank you. Goodbye.